Hey everybody, it is TorontoUnicorn here with another episode of Sex and Swinging. I'm with Steve. Say hello.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Steve is also a DJ at another sex club in the area. Do you want to say the name or?
Yeah, you might as well know me as DJ Slim at X Club. Yep, the same one.
And basically, we are really good friends. And he has watched almost all of my shit, like all of my content, right?
All? I'd say about 95, 98, 99.999.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
And he retains it, right? Like, we're good friends. He whips out, like, oh, that's where you grew up. And, like, oh, that's your favorite ice cream flavor. And I'm like, I feel like I'm one of, like, when a fan or when a guy, for example, likes a hockey team. And he, like, gets all the hockey cards and he knows all their stats. Like, I feel like, in a way, that's what it is with him and TorontoUnicorn's content, right? Is you saw my content. You were a fan of my content before we met.
That's actually funny you mentioned that. I used to be like that as a teenager when I was following the Blue Jays when they were really, really good.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I consumed a lot of your content. I got a connection from it. I felt something from everything you're saying, and it had a lot of meaning. It was very true. And from there,
we ended up meeting because I did a video tour of X Club at your invitation, essentially. And that's how we met. And we actually met on camera, and you can see it if you're watching on YouTube. I'll put a link below so that you can see the time when I met Steve. But ever since then, we have been friends. It is platonic. But it's good friends. And so you know my content. And sometimes when I take a turn or I'm thinking of an idea for my content, I talk to you about it as a viewer.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is it that you like about this video? Like, tell me what it is. So like, you are such a good soundboard for me, right?
Yes.
So this is where I wanted to interview Steve today. Kind of, we were hanging out anyways, but I want to see what it was like as a fan. You know, we're friends too, but for now, the fan of you, fan of TorontoUnicorn. What was it like to meet Chris and Caress on the videos and the podcast episode that I did, who was the couple that I met back in 2019 when I was a single woman, not vanilla world, had never had a threesome, and she was the first girl I ever kissed, really, like that, and like her first pussy I ever ate terribly, and terribly. I couldn't find her clit. I don't think it matters.
She didn't sound like she was having a bad time at all.
No, she has a very beautiful vagina. I was upside down and with a straight girl without a map, and I just couldn't find it. And I've gotten better since then, but it was my first girl experience, so that's just the funny part of the experience. But what is it like as a fan to meet and see the faces of people, because they went unblurred on YouTube, that were the people from those early storylines of mine?
Okay, well, first of all, it's very hard to get a visual representation when you've only heard about them and you build an idea in your head of, okay, this is who they are, all right. I'm closing my eyes and thinking what they might look like or something. But when you actually see them, sometimes they don't match what you think they are. And then it's a little bit of a, okay, this is not what I was entirely expecting, but that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's your experience, right?
Yeah.
So they look like two normal people. And by the way, she looked very attractive in my mind. Even though she gave herself a 4 out of 10, sorry, no. That is subjective, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have an opinion. Oh, well, she's a 4, maybe she's a 7 or whatever. Yeah. I thought she was cute.
Yeah,
I thought she was actually cute. And from listening to your experience, now I can get why you had such a great first experiences, because they seemed very down to earth and they seemed to just get you. They saw how, as they said, how brave you were.
Yeah.
And they gave you a lot of points for that. And maybe they were just the right match for you to go on this journey and start it off.
Yeah, it's true. And you got to see firsthand, like, even years later, I can recount the story the same way I did back in the first time I did my first threesome. That video, I was going to say, did you watch it? But of course you watched it. This is the one where I sat in, I was a certain t-shirt, and I was sitting in front of my computer, and I walked through my first threesome. And without even re-watching it recently to get refreshed, I sat on this couch and recounted it with them. And it goes to show, like, we all are taking such a chance in this lifestyle, and our interactions are meaningful.
Yes.
And I guess it just is important to remind everybody that kindness is just always the best choice. One of my favorite phrases is kindness is never wasted. And I think it's just one of those things where, thank goodness this went the way it did, because what if back then I had a negative first experience and then I felt this lifestyle as a whole wasn't for me? Where would I be now?
Yeah, you don't know. We would have maybe not met.
No, I wouldn't have met R.
No.
I wouldn't have met Amelia.
No.
I wouldn't have been a thriving woman and, and unexpectedly and having a second wind of life, essentially. It just feels like it all really added up. And not to put a lot of pressure on people, but it really is just important that we're as diplomatic and kind as possible, even if you're not interested in something or someone,
Yep. Exactly.
So.
But like you said before, in another situation, had it gone south, you would have been backing up.
Yes, remember that? I was like, yeah. That was a different couple, though.
Yes,
I
know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's what I'm just saying. If you had that same experience, and like you just said, we wouldn't be here having this conversation right now.
Yeah, it's true.
Things would be very, very different.
Well, it's true, and I go back to the video that went viral, which that video. It was the one, the live stream where I talked for 20 minutes, including with my mouth full of tapioca balls, about a threesome I had in the orgy room. Right? It's true. It's apparently the endearing part, but some people they cringe at the sound of people eating and talking, and I'm just like, I just don't. I'm not as polished all the time. So, anyways, basically, if I met that couple and put them on, that would be pretty cool from a fan perspective, to be like, hey, that's that guy she described, the guy that looked like Prince Harry, right?
Really?
I didn't know his name. I forgot his name.
So that's what he looked like.
Look at Prince Harry, yeah.
Really?
And the girl's name was Ash.
Okay.
She's beautiful blonde hair. Now, I did see them one time after, but we were so awkward around each other. And so that's that. But if I ever saw them again now, I just wonder, did they know that I did that video? And did they know that it went viral? And
then they might be coming back saying, hey, could you pay up, please?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's why I make people do these, I won't sue you things before they go on my channel, right? It's like, you never know.
Yeah, you just don't know.
So does it put more pieces in place of the story and the journey that make the picture more full for you?
Every little bit adds to the picture, to the mosaic that is you. I think that you've gone through a long journey so far. You've gone through a lot of phases.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them have been...
What phases? Describe the phases.
Okay, phases. So you start off with the whole threesome thing. And then you went into your opinionated pieces about, this is the way I want to be. Or not you. Sorry.
Yeah.
A number of women have said.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder if that's a bit about you, too.
Oh, I'm very diplomatic when inside I'm like, do it for us this way. Like, and the inside I definitely feel strongly sometimes. And then I do my best to make it come out in a constructive way, frankly, because I also strategically know that I'm going to be more effective that way than, more flies with honey than vinegar, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I don't feel vinegar. It means that I sprinkle the honey. It's just different. But you've seen recently I put out a video that even R was concerned about, because I'm more blunt, and I even introduced it as I'm going to be cutthroat, right? I don't regret that video. I feel very, very proud of that video. But I also know that there's a few videos I've done that will potentially turn off people.
Yes.
And the ones, I'm not even going to mention them on here. But I left them up. Because I'm willing to stand for certain things. Right? Yeah. I don't need to put controversial things into my channel or my podcast that don't add value, which is why I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about race. I don't talk about those kind of things yet, because it's just such a sensitive thing that I try to keep it outside of the sex positive discussion for my channel.
Well, it's a smart idea. I mean, right now, it's about trying to bring as many people into the environment as much as possible. I mean, I came out of vanilla world and I DJ now at a sex-positive club, and you know what?
But technically you're still in vanilla world, you're just DJing at a lifestyle club, which is an interesting, what did you call yourself? A transplant or something? Or
No,
like
I call myself a vanilla twist.
a vanilla twist. So
yeah, you know, you go into like the Dairy Queen and you can get the vanilla, but no, there's chocolate and vanilla in that. That's a twist.
Yeah.
My lines are blurred.
Yeah. But you said that your only exposure to the lifestyle really has been the experience as the DJ.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty much.
Have you been to an orgy?
No.
Right? Like you are not a swinger, right?
No.
So that's what I mean, is like some people who don't know that, right? If they're, how are you in lifestyle if you're not a swinger?
Yeah.
But you are a DJ at a lifestyle club, and you could hang around with lifestyle people, but you don't necessarily participate.
Yeah, you don't have to participate to be a part of the lifestyle. You make the lifestyle the experience you want it to be.
Exactly.
And if that's a sexual experience, then that's great. If it's a not sexual experience, that's okay too. I mean, there are hurdles you'll have to go through. I mean, I've gone through some myself, and you know,
turning down all the ladies.
It's very, very tempting.
Well, DJs at a hot, sexy club, I mean, I can imagine you do probably get some fun attention, but luckily for you, you know.
I used to get attention even before I came to a lifestyle club.
Okay.
I got hit on tons of times when I was at residencies, and sometimes, I had opportunities. Sometimes I took them, sometimes I didn't.
Yeah.
But, for me as a DJ, I mean, it's a great opportunity just to be myself, and I don't have to go out there. I don't have to chase anybody. I just let everything come to me, and that is the most comfortable way about being yourself, is just be who you are, and don't worry about going after somebody or anything like that. Just be you, and good things gravitate to you.
Tell me the phases.
The phases. Okay, so you start off with the whole threesome thing, and then you go into the advice thing, and then from there, well, you kind of gone on a bit of journeys. You kind of were looking for a partner, and we saw that go in good and not so good ways. You talk about your story times, and some of them can get very graphic, by the way.
Yes.
Lots of,
especially on my fan page, my After Dark versions.
Yeah, well, that's if you go to her OnlyFans. And,
exactly.
Yeah, then you get to hear the dirty details.
Yeah, and see the nip slips.
Among other things.
But yeah, so keep going. So the story times.
So the story times, your pillow talks have been, I think those are my favorite ones. They're the pillow talks.
Okay.
Yeah. I love them because it's just personal. You create this intimacy that it just draws you in, and you're just like, oh, okay, good. What's this all about? And you do talk about your mind and what's going on there, and you just let it all out. I mean, you just say, what the fuck are you waiting for? It's just like, all right.
But what's the difference between laying on a pillow and then sitting upright? What's the difference in the value of the pillow talk?
I think pillow talk is very informal. And I think that's part of your charm and wit, is you are so informal about things. I mean, when we go into the spin and polish, as you've once said, you do a great job. I mean, it looks great and everything. But the real Toronto Unicorn that I know and I've gotten to know, and that has been very charming, you don't need to be like this, perfect thing, and you just spit it out whatever fucking way you want.
I'm unapologetically myself.
I know.
And I've noticed more people, Vanilla World, I have to be more careful, but I have to really digress for one moment. There's a really funny story. So I told R on the phone, I was like, I am so proud of myself because I filtered in Vanilla World. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. I was like really upset because I got completely ripped off by a service, and I on the phone with them was so proud that I didn't say, it felt like you raped me up the ass without lube. Oh,
it was a rough ride, that's for sure.
I said it felt like I got ripped off. So my first instinct was to be blunt and vulgar, because that is my instinct.
Okay.
But I was able to not say that to a Vanilla World person, and it didn't escalate into a problem, right? So that's good. But this is progress, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I was younger, I would just let things fly.
Yeah. And when you're younger, sometimes you just let them fly, and it's with the wrong people, and you get shamed on.
Yeah.
And I think what I've learned in my personal experience, at least coming to the lifestyle for me, is just be yourself. And sometimes if you throw in, I just got butt fucked on national TV. Hey, it's going to happen. I said that to my boss, and he just got, yeah, I kind of get it, yeah. And that was for a work environment.
And that's what I mean. It's like he's also in a lifestyle club.
Yeah.
Right? This is vanilla world, customer service people. I'm like, look, I got ripped off. I don't need to say the word. Felt like I got anal raped. Okay, just relax. The funny thing is, though, I am that vulgar.
Yes.
I am, and you've seen my natural state. I'm also a little rigid, about like a bit OCD in certain ways. I don't like hazards around.
No, you don't.
No, I don't like cords where someone could trip or dripping water near electricity. Like, no, I will absolutely be, making sure those things are addressed. Those are some things you've learned about me.
Yes, I have.
What are things that you know about me as TorontoUnicorn that maybe some people on my channel would be surprised to know?
That's a good
Be kind.
Well, aside, be kind. You're pretty much out there. I mean,
Yeah, pretty the same.
you don't hide too much. I mean, aside from the fact of who you really are.
But who I really, my name's Sarah.
You've even brought that up.
Yep.
I was so.
At this point, I might as well give you my social insurance number. At this point,
Yeah, but
that's where I'm at.
But can I say something?
Yeah.
The day you did that show,
Yeah.
I was so proud of you. I remember I saw it and I hadn't talked to you in a little while.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it and I immediately had to pick up the phone and call you and tell you how proud I was that you were so brave enough to come out about that and who you are.
I remember that, and I remember thinking you were the only one that would have really known how important that was.
Oh, it was incredibly important.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really freeing to merge the two identities too, right? Sarah and TorontoUnicorn can coexist now, where before it was when the camera was on, I was someone, and then when the camera was off, it was like, Sarah lived very differently. Like, Sarah's the one that has to work in a day job and, like, have meetings and things, So, it was, and now at least they can both coexist in my world.
But I think I felt the same way, but not through your experience. I mean, I've been being a DJ for 25 years. So a lot of people know me as DJ Slim, and we go, hey, Slim.
Yeah.
I have a name. My name's
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
And you have the one persona, and then you have the other persona, and they can be very different. I will say one of the best things I've had happen since I started Spinning at X Club is I've been able to merge my persona and my real person together. And it's changed me so much as well. I mean, I've become a lot more unapologetic.
Yeah.
A lot more confident. Like, I was confident, but now I'm just like uber confident now.
And I think the confidence when we get to a stage in our lives like this, it's like comes from a more sustainable place. It's not based on our current situation. Like, for example, recently, whatever the issue is, someone gains a little weight or someone, develops a certain mole in a certain unpleasant place, or, not a mole, but something they gotta wait for it to go away. We can all feel unattractive at times and feel those cringes of, I have to hide from the world for a while. And I'm like, you know what? Recently I'm like, no, fuck no. I am going to thrive in this body regardless of how it looks. And so that is a decision made regardless of 10 pounds, 20 pounds, or if I have to size up or down my clothes. And I think that's where the power comes from and the freedom comes from. It's not because I accept myself now in the state I'm at. It's I accept myself and the journey where I go.
But I think, like you said many times to many people, wear it, own it.
Own it.
Absolutely. Because I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do is to own it. And once you do that, then people gravitate you to much easier.
They do. And when you're unapologetic around people, I've noticed people become intrigued by you, but also maybe inspired by you. And then they become a little more unapologetic about certain things. And I think even just boundary setting, I'm very unapologetic in life, but also about boundaries, like in my later years, to the point where if I'm really exhausted and I don't have the social energy to participate in something, I'll say so instead of coming up with some excuse about like, oh, I'm sick or like, oh, whatever. I'll just be like, you know what? I really don't have it in me, but like, you go have fun. I don't even need to make excuses anymore because my feelings are valid as they are and I can just communicate them, right? So that's a different place of being.
Or even worse, trying to take one for the team.
Yeah.
I used to do that so much. And it leaves you feeling like, okay, I'm doing this because I'm nice, but at the same time, I'm feeling ick.
Yeah.
And I just learned, no.
I would never take one for the team.
Fuck that.
Like, I might change my acceptance of a scenario for the team, like meaning I'll just sit out and let people fuck, but I wouldn't fuck someone I didn't want to fuck because it was socially acceptable. And I remember giving coaching to some people in my swinger coaching Zoom consulting. Was she has a people pleasing challenge, and I said, hey, you need to work on that, because you're not going to want to be a people pleaser when a blowjob's involved and it's expected. I said, you've got to work on being able to advocate for yourself and where you're excited about going, and don't go where you're expected to go where you want to go. And that was something that was enlightening to her, is she didn't think she had the choice of saying she wouldn't suck a guy's dick. She thought she had to, and she said the idea made her feel gross.
Yeah.
Because she just loves her husband, doesn't want another man. Like, for her, she just thought swapping meant she had to go and do that. And I was like, no, you don't have to be a people pleaser to be a swinger. No. You can go and say, hey, only I want to play with women and my husband watches. Or you just have women. It's problem solved, right? Like, so they were, I think the coaching helped them. But the point is, the people pleasing is something that, especially in the lifestyle, you've got to work on. You don't want to carry that with you.
Yeah, and I mean, that also comes down to communication. If you're not talking to your partner, or you're not talking to the people you're involved with, you're going to hit some serious hazards.
Yeah.
Landmines. Yeah. It's going to be ugly.
It's true. So coming back to the TorontoUnicorn channel, you've seen it grow since 2020 roughly is when I created the channel.
Yeah.
What have you thought? It's 2023 now. Mm-hmm. What has the journey shown you about anything that's of value?
There's been growth. I've seen you evolve. You don't like to hear this, but I see you approach it in a very, you jump in with both feet. Mm-hmm. It's a little naive, but I think that's part of your charm as well. Mm-hmm. Now, you say you're not necessarily naive, like you've been doing this now for 3.5 years, 4 years. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's not that you are naive. I think it's more your personality and your approach. You have a very wide-eyed approach to everything. You come into it and you're just like, oh, what's this? Oh, we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And you're just out there and you tell it. You just openly fucking tell it. And I'm just sitting there going,
tell what?
You just tell the experience the way it is, unfiltered.
Give an example.
Oh, let's see. Bukkake night.
Okay.
And how you talked about the gory details of what was going on.
Indiscriminate dick.
Yes.
Right? Being sucked and,
And just what would happen. And I think what it makes it great is you kind of get a picture. Mm-hmm. Because the imagination's the best thing out there. I mean, we can only see things through your eyes, so to speak, or your point of view. And we have to take it in. It's kind of like being on a little journey that we're kind of taking from your point of view. And then you try to build a picture in your head, and it's like, okay, like the most vivid story that I remember you told, and I could picture right down to even fine detail, was Colorado Boy.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The fact that you were lying together, you were watching a couple literally, this close to you, and you're just fascinated. Both of you are just fascinated just watching them fuck. It's like, I could picture the whole idea. I could picture your whole story from starting at the pool, and then you kind of progress from there to the next part, till when you got up into the 3rd floor, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Of course he was.
If I ever ran into him again, man, he would have 5 minutes of solid foreplay. That's all I need. The rest is done.
Wow.
That guy, if I ever ran into him again, I would love to hang out with him again. Yes, we had a good time. Yeah. He was a good person, and it was quite the build up that night. That, let's just say, is an investment in future hangouts. Yeah. It's not like we're starting from scratch again.
No.
But I don't know if I'll ever see him again.
But it's like a waypoint in a video game.
I don't know what that means.
That means, like you're playing Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
You get into a world and you get halfway. There's this little part. You get this crossing at the waypoint. Yeah. And then if you die going forward, you come back to this. You don't go to the beginning of the board. You don't go back to the beginning of the world. No, you go halfway. Okay, I see. And when you have the waypoint, then, hey, you just continue on, right?
So it's true. So he has a waypoint.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anyways, our Colorado Boy, if you're listening. Just kidding.
You're a very lucky guy.
Oh, that's true too. But I felt like a very lucky girl that night too. I felt
Yeah.
he made me believe sex club romance was a thing. And again, when I say romance, I knew I was never gonna see him again.
Okay.
I saw him twice, right? But that was it. I knew it. It didn't matter. It was still so special. It was so. He made me feel like I was like the only girl he really was interested in the whole time, and it was just so passionate. And but he gave me the space I needed to get comfortable. And I think the worst thing a guy can do to me specifically is push me before I'm ready, because it's just one of those things where, and maybe I speak for other people, maybe I don't, but before a comfort level is established, if it's intruded with, it becomes an impossible comfort level to get to, you know. And some guys have just made that mistake with me, whether it's the way they touch me without consent really quickly at the club, because they just, oh, you know, I've seen you on YouTube, you must be friendly, I'm going to put my arm around you, like, you know. I've had some interactions like that where I'm like, no, like, you still can't do that, you know.
I actually visualized the once when you did that visit.
Yeah,
the guy came up to you, he got his hand on your arm, and bam.
Well, he kissed me on the forehead.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, he kissed you.
I remember he leaned back and he was looking at me like he was like waiting for me to say something sweet. And I was like, and who gave you permission to do that?
Uh-oh.
And I kept that tone. Like I was very, he was lucky I was there on a business purpose and in a educational mood. Because to be really honest with you, that day that I had gone to that club, not anyone really knows this, but it was a very hard emotional day for me before I put that dress on and went and did that video tour. And so no one really knows that, but I was basically pulling all of what I had to do this tour well, and I was going to leave it all on the field kind of mentality.
Well, why? What was...
I don't like to go into drama. You can't
go into detail? That's okay.
But I had an interpersonal hurt with somebody, and I was in the midst of feeling the feels about it, and it was just something that I had to process. But it was a real, like, I should have not gone. Like, I was not normally in a mental state to have gone, but I just thought, okay, this is so important to me, and I know I can just pull it out, right? And I did, and I went and I had a great time, and I came home and then I cried it out, you know, like, I did my thing. But the thing is, when that man came, he has no idea that how little I had left to give that day. And so he's so lucky that I did not get really rude or crude with him, because it was the wrong day to also do something like that to me too. I was very much trying my best to just stick it out, be a good, you know, do a good job. And to have someone literally put lips on me, I was like, like, I don't know what I'm gonna, you know. So
yeah, you were gonna get your salty attitude on.
Like that.
Yeah, just bam.
It comes out real quick when I'm provoked, especially in something like so serious.
Yeah.
Like that, because it's not the same as like somebody accidentally touching my shoulder. Like, yeah, I can still be, you know, like I say, ask them not to, but like I don't. It's a different than if somebody comes and kisses you.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, can I tell you a secret? So before I had TorontoUnicorn's life, I was Sarah and being unsuccessful dating, right? And I remember not knowing why, but I feared the end of a date.
Really?
When a man was deciding to kiss me, I wanted to hide. Yes. And so I would do everything to either avoid that part by literally just walking separately. Like, I was afraid of being kissed by a guy I wasn't sure about. And I never even knew I was demisexual back then. And that's, for anyone who's listening, you need an emotional connection to have sexual attraction. And I didn't know that back then. I just knew that I was so scared of a guy wanting to kiss me before I wanted to kiss him.
Yeah, but I think if a guy is a real gentleman and he knows how to read a woman properly, he should pick up those cues.
Yeah, but guys are also doing their best to leave a good impression, maybe land a kiss so that they have a good, like, I get it. And I know I'm just different. I know that other girls are maybe more excited, but for me, I just knew that I was, like, it's still,
but with you, okay, closing the deal is not so black and white and easy. So most guys, you know, you're going to close the deal. You're going to go in for the kiss. You know what? And sometimes you're going to fail and sometimes you're going to succeed. With you, I guess it was a challenge for the longest time.
I think the most successful men to me are the guys who do not go in for the kiss. They are the men who wait until I am comfortable and announce it before they make that move. And I know that that's different from other dynamics that you may have with other people. But in the past, I've noticed with certain guys, it's worked. It's the guys that wait until I say, yes, you can touch me, even on my leg. Because I remember Colorado Boy, I think he asked me. I don't know. He might have. All I know is, you know, my tongue was down his throat. At that point, he didn't touch me. You know, but it's one of those things where I had a few other, you know, like storylines in my channel. B, you remember B from the beginning?
Yes.
B, you know, we don't play together at all anymore, but I still see him in the lifestyle. I wish him well. He wishes me well. It's just it's very collegial, right? This lifestyle. But he did not make the moves on me before I was ready. He knew the same thing. I said, you back up and you give me bubble space, like, you know, my personal bubble in the pool. I remember literally saying to him at one point, you can come closer now. Like, and then he's like, oh yeah? I was like, yeah. Like let me invite you in is kind of for me. And so you've seen me up close. I am the same. I don't like personal touch from my friends a lot. And I have hugs and stuff, but like that's pretty much it. And I'm the same with the club. So it's just who I am. And yeah. Is there any final thoughts that you can think of Toronto Unicorn? Something that you, as maybe one of the only people I know could contend with you for who has seen and understand Toronto Unicorn the most, but it would be a tough call.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you, as somebody with that very coveted position, be able to share even to me about the journey, about the Toronto Unicorn journey, about the influence?
The influence. Well, first of all, you've touched so many people's lives. Look at what you've done. You've influenced R. She came out of her shell. You gained a friend. You influenced Amelia. Look at what you did with her. There's been a few guys recently who have benefited from your channel. Yeah. And there's probably tons of us out there on the channel. You met me.
Yeah.
I mean, you've met so many people. And it's just because you put yourself out there and you were just being, like you said, genuinely, unapologetically you.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, and I told you this on the first day we met, what is the one thing that gravitates me to you? It's wondering what the fuck you're going to do next. And sometimes, yeah, I've raised my eyebrows and went, oh shit, what are you about to do? And other times I'm like, I'll shake my head and go, But you know what? That's normal. That's the process.
Can I ask you to do something for my website?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you, as a longtime viewer who knows my content well, to make a top 10 video list of what anybody new to my channel should watch in order.
Okay.
And I will put a link to this on my website, TorontoUnicorn.com. And that is the best vantage point. Somebody who says, from what I've seen of the whole landscape, here's the 10 videos that describe the journey the most.
Well, you're talking to a DJ. Come on, I have a top 10 for everything.
There you go. Maybe you could slip in a sound mix for some sexy time that I could put on my website. So that
I know you want me working on that. That's a project.
How about when you release that, I'll put that on my website.
Absolutely.
And then you can download some music to have some naughty time with, right? Because you don't want to put on the wrong shit. I mean, I just remember when Ace of Base came on, and I saw the sign in my sex party, and I was like, this is not my playlist. Like, this is not my playlist.
Not the kind of song you want if you're gonna get down.
So sad. Like, no, it was just...
I love that song,
I do too, but I was a child, and I used to Muppet it with my friends. Like, we would actually put ourselves on our knees and put shoes where our knees were and we would dance to I saw the sign. So it was very much a childhood memory, and so people are like, and then like, I saw the sign.
Be like, oh God, that's where the mistake. That was a mistake right there. But come on.
The mistake for me was just not having a playlist ready for a party like that. So hopefully DJ Slam will help us out one day.
Yes.
And then if so, you'll be able to find the links on TorontoUnicorn.com. Any final words?
I'm speechless as always.
About what?
You, as I say, you continue to amaze me with what you do.
That's nice.
And you go on this journey. And as I said, one day I'm thinking, okay, yep, she's going to do another Oasis blog, on. And all of a sudden, next thing you're doing something right out of left field. I'm like,
that's
okay.
true. I'm glad you don't get used to being something specific, because I have done nothing in my life but change. And so it really is interesting. Well, I have certain core threads, but
Yeah.
even I get bored with my own stuff, right? And I took a month off of Oasis recently. You guys have not seen a vlog from Oasis other than one visit with Chris and Chris on Unicorn Night.
Yeah.
So it's, if people were watching for that, then they probably got a break for a bit, right? And now suddenly I'm like, pillow talk. Like,
Yes.
after 6 months, I introduce a random pillow talk.
Yeah, and I was so thrilled when you did. I've been telling you to do a pillow talk, because it's one of the things you haven't done in such a while. So when you did it, I was thrilled that you did it.
And what's next? What story time should I do next that's inspired by Steve? What's a story that Steve would want to know?
Oh, well, that's yet to come. I don't know.
All right, well, you're not...
Because, like I said, you don't know what's going to happen next.
It's true.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's really fun that you and R have this competition between the two of you on who knows my content and me the best. I think one day we'll have to do some kind of official trivia between the two of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening, I'm throwing it down right now. The gauntlet's been thrown. Your ass is mine.
Oh, she's going to come back at you. You better be ready. She's going to come back at you.
Yeah, what are the stakes? That is the question.
Yeah, well, you better fucking rewatch all my shit then. Right? So...
hours and hours and hours.
And we did, Steve and I did work on a project together that got kind of frozen in time. But if there's any video documentary makers out there who want to talk to me and Steve about putting together a real documentary on the Springer lifestyle and the journey of vanilla folk inside, yeah, they could reach out. The email is in the description of this podcast.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Steve, and let's go get some food, okay?
Yes.
All right, bye.
See ya.
You can check out Steve's pick for the top 10 Toronto Unicorn videos by clicking on your screen now.